everybody. Welcome to the Live Well, Love Strong podcast. And today I'm so excited. I have a fellow mama. I have my mentor, whether she knows it or not, Paige Siemers with me. And Paige is a wife, a mom, a counselor in training, and a former teacher who's passionate about helping families in the disability community find resilience, hope, and faith based support in the hard and holy work of caregiving. Oh my God, good stuff. Welcome, Paige.
Hi, friend.
Hello, hello. It's so good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Today, we are going to talk about belonging, y'all. And I think I said before, Paige is my mentor. She has a daughter, Anna, who is at least 5 years older than Mary Elizabeth. Anna's in her 20s now,
Yeah,
21,
she's
23,
23. 23.
23. So 10 years almost older than Mary Elizabeth. And so Paige has been a mom that I will call or text for advice, for a heads up, to not reinvent the wheel. Whatever she's done, it's like, oh, she's learned from it and she passes on that knowledge and that wisdom to me. And so I'm so grateful and I'm so happy to just like have a conversation with her. So anyway, what does belonging mean to you and why is it so important, Paige?
Um, Belonging to me, I guess, feels like you're supposed to be there. Um, and you are allowed to be there. You have a place, where you're accepted for who you are, um, for all that you look like and that you can do, and sometimes that you can't do like everybody else. And the reason that I feel like it's so important is I think relationships are the most important things. Um, they're what gets us through life. And I think if you have a group of people that you belong to or that you claim as your tribe, as your community, and you feel like you belong there, it gives you encouragement. It gives you confidence. It um, lets you know that, you know what, I can take risks. And if I fail, my group that I belong to is going to help me pick back up. And I just think it's so important to get through life on this side of heaven.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. We're wired for connection
Right.
and we're social beings. And so yeah, it would make sense that we want to belong with everybody. So I'm gonna say it. I know we didn't talk about this pre-podcast, but
Hmm.
our children don't look or behave in a lot of ways like what people would say are normal or what people we say neurotypical in our world. But um,
Right.
so, what are some easy wins that we can do as moms with our kids to make belonging a little easier for them?
Mm. Um, I think that's a great question, and I think it's a great thing to look at for our group of people because you're right. Um, so I was a teacher for 27 years, and I've been a mom for 23 years, and so I have seen um, kids who felt like they belonged and kids who felt like they did not belong. And, when you look at our girls, because our girls are very similar, they're both in wheelchairs, they're both nonverbal, but they understand everything and everybody. And I think that they are really good at, um, it's almost like they have a sixth sense. They can feel people's energy. They know who accepts them and who doesn't. And they know who is being kind to them or who's being condescending.
Yes.
But within that, when they show up, it is clear that our girls are disabled. It is
Right.
clear. They're in a wheelchair, they have feeding tubes. It's very clear.
Mhm.
Whereas some of our other friends with disabilities, they show up in a space, and until maybe people start interacting with them, people don't know that they have a disability. And I have said forever and ever, I think that might be harder than a Mary Elizabeth or an Anna,
Yeah.
because what happens is we have no control over what people think about us or people think about our kids, right? We don't have that control to control that. But the way that we show up in different spaces, we do have control over that. And so, I mean, all the way back to when Anna was little, very little, um, I made sure that when I knew we were going to be with other people, that she was dressed like other people. I did her hair like other people her age, other kids her age. And I remember my friend saying to me, who was in special education as well, she was like, I want you to know, I know outer appearance should not matter as much as what's in our heart. There's that verse in First Samuel that talks about, the Lord looks at our heart, but man looks at the outward appearance. And it's
Mhm.
true. I mean, it is. When we walk in, people are looking at us. And
Mhm.
so when our kids walk in and they may have the same shoes as other kids their age, or they may have a similar haircut, or they may be wearing, you know, a brand or something that kids their age also wear, then what happens is there's a connection there, and there's an opening for that belonging, like we're talking about. And so I paid attention to that. And my friend said, you have no idea the impact that that has um, for Anna to be accepted into a group of people. And I watched it happen. And I paid attention to that. She drew my attention to it, and I paid attention to that. And I don't want to ever, tell people, well, it's all about how you look. It's not. It's not
Yeah.
just about how you look, but that initial showing up like that, it gave an opportunity that she might not have had to to someone to go, "Oh, look, she is in a wheelchair, but she has the same high top Nikes as me." Or look, she's wearing her hair with a bow. I'll never forget, we had a best buddies program in her elementary school, or special buddies or whatever it was called. And she made friends with a really sweet girl, Lauren, and Anna's playground had just gotten a wheelchair friendly swing at it.
Mhm.
And the news and the paper was coming to do like a little story, and they wanted Anna to be, have her picture taken. Well, I had forgotten a bow that day in her hair, and this was back in the day when everybody wore bows. I
No
don't
bow,
know
no
that.
go. That's it.
Yeah, I love that. No bow, no go. And so her friend Lauren quickly saw that without me even saying the thing, pulled the bow out of her own hair and put it in Anna's hair as an elementary kid,
Yeah.
because she wanted to make sure that Anna looked her best.
Yeah.
And I just got chills when I talked about that. And sweet Lauren, she's such a lovely person. But anyway, um, that kind of that's belonging. That's acceptance.
Yeah.
That I don't know if we had not paid attention to those sorts of things. And here's the thing, you don't have to spend $1 million.
Right.
You don't. I do feel like when you become friends with people that have children your same age as your kid, who are what we call neurotypical,
Mhm.
it is an awesome thing to go, hey, what are you buying? What's so and so wearing for school this year? You know, what are the cool shoes?
Yeah.
We did this for a long time for Christmas gifts.
Mhm.
My friend Erin her daughter Aiden, I would say, "Hey, what's Aiden?" Because they're almost the same age. I said, "What's Aiden asking for Christmas?" And then I would look at things, and I would look at things with Anna, and we would look at the computer, and she's able to communicate, through eye blinks and that kind of thing, and facial expressions of things that she likes and doesn't like. And I don't know, it just offered an opportunity to make that
Yeah.
happen. So that
Yeah.
outward appearance part, I think, is a good win.
Yeah.
Do you
And
want
an
me to keep
easy
going?
win. I think it's an easy win. And for me, our girls are very similar, but I think we are pretty similar as well. And I have dressed Mary Elizabeth immaculately, her whole life. And have always had her hair fixed really nicely with, lots of braids and bows. And she's a very girly girl. So we like all the sparkles and bling. And um, what I would notice is that when someone, a peer of Mary Elizabeth's and or a mom of a peer, would notice that their hairstyles were the same and they would say, "Oh, look, you're twins." And the reaction from Mary Elizabeth is priceless for that. Like, she is so happy and so comfortable, yeah, where she feels like, oh, we are the same, or we have this in common, or I do belong, or they do accept me. And we I don't know, it's tricky stuff, because I agree, the outward appearance should not matter. But we do live in a society where it does. And it matters a lot. It
100%.
matters a ton for kids growing up. And so it's an easy win for us as moms to give them something that they're going to have in common with their peers, so that in the very least, that initial, like, rolling into the room, oh,
Mhm.
look, I like her backpack, or oh, she likes Harry Potter too, or and it just gives that connection of we are the same even though we look different. And we have, and to step further than that, we all need the same things and we all want the same things, which is belonging and love and inclusion and acceptance. And so I love that's an easy win for us and something that we can do and not um, have to stress too much. How does the way our children belong change as they grow up and become young adults? Is there
Oh my goodness. That's a lot. That last question was super easy compared to this.
right?
So say as kids with disabilities grow up, in elementary school, really surrounded by a lot of people, super surrounded by a lot of people. And then as as kids grow up, they get more involved in their activities. Some of those activities are disability, friendly, accepting, inclusive. Some of those activities are not. And so the belonging is probably going to look different as kids grow up, and the divide gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's hard to find. It gets harder to find that
Mhm.
um, belong those places to belong, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. So how do we, and because you and I are big believers in, if we need it, we have to build it ourselves. We have to create it ourselves. So how does a mom create a space for a child who's becoming a young adult, becoming an adult in this world? How do we create those spaces where they still can belong and where they still have that opportunity, especially as their peers are going and doing different things? And if it's not something that they can, participate in, what do we do as
Yeah.
moms?
I will tell you, I started way back, and people would tell me that, like, "Hey, listen, we don't have anything and you're gonna have to do it." And I would get really angry about it because I was like, "Man, the everyday life is already hard enough." Like, just the physicalness of our children, just the physical nature it takes to care for them and all of those things, and you want me to start what?
Yeah.
And then I decided, you know what? It's not worth it to fight it. Like it's true. Like I need to create space in my life and create opportunity for Anna's life and her friends that are not having opportunities either. And I did have access to a lot of things because I was a teacher. And I
Mhm.
got to see all different disabilities. I had all different disabilities in my classes. I had kids that were like my Anna, and everything in between. I mean,
Yeah.
just all of it. So, um, I would tell people to first of all look at what's close to you first,
Mhm.
because look what's already there and
Mhm.
see if there's any way. If there's something already created, maybe it's on your child's campus, maybe it's in your community.
Mhm.
Um, Gosh, so a couple of things. Number one, I just said, like in her elementary school, they had like a best buddies program. And the thing is, you got to look for those. But here's the thing, there was a mom in our community that didn't exist in elementary school when Anna first started. And this mom in our community, her name is Monica. She is just an angel. Her daughter is a little bit older than Anna, but she created a Best Buddies program, which is actually a high school program. She created that for elementary. And our district started to adopt that at different campuses, and it was run through the counseling department. And because Anna was in a life skills class with other children with disabilities, a little form got sent home, and I kind of already knew what it was because
Mhm.
I taught junior high and high school.
Mhm.
But if you're a parent that doesn't know that, like look for those sorts of things like on the campus. In our community, I looked for like our dear friend Abby created a wheelchair soccer league, and Anna had a great time, with that. They play with this giant soccer ball, and it's all people in wheelchairs, and they push it into these big goals, and it's just the most fun. It's super, super fun. So that was a fun thing to look at. And that she could still do that if she wanted to. We also did like challenger baseball, and her brother would wheel her around the bases until
Mhm.
Anna decided she did not like the heat. And that was no fun to stand there on a
Princess,
base.
like Mary
Yeah.
Elizabeth, right? Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Right.
100%. And so when those sorts of opportunities started to kind of die out, and then, when you get to junior high, um, those were not there. So I was the person on my campus though that could had the ability to create a special buddies or best buddies program. So I created it on my campus. Did I have time for that? Was it on my like list of duties? No, it wasn't. But I knew that when Anna came through my school, I would want her to be a part of it. But it also has such a great impact on the other students. Like it
Yeah.
changed their lives. Some of them went on, and I mean, I taught for a long time. So, I mean, like my oldest group of kids is 40 now. But some of them, came through and they're special ed teachers now, or they do stuff in the special needs world. Um, uh, so that was something that I created. I made sure that it continued on even after she left. It's not like I did it just for her benefit.
Right.
I just have that heart for people with disabilities, no matter if
Yeah.
they're mine or somebody else's.
Yeah. Can I ask a question, a follow-up
Sure.
to that? That as a teacher, because you did get to see from the outside the social dynamics and the
Mhm.
social development and even moral development of kids. Uh, what does being around a kid like ours do for a neurotypical kid? What have you seen in your experience? Like, how is that good for them or bad for them or neutral for them? Like, how have you seen like the ones who had a buddy? Um,
Mhm.
what's the
So
outcome for those kids?
yeah, so one of the things that I made sure of is, before I would ever offer the opportunity, we did an education
Mhm,
about, you know, this is why this student might look a little different than you, or move differently, or eat differently.
mhm.
So there was a bit of an education because I would say, no matter if you're a child or an adult, different is sometimes scary for people.
Yeah, yeah,
And I always want to come from the perspective of like, maybe you're just not interacting because you don't know how to interact. Like, that's a little scary, and that's what a lot of my students would say to me is, they would say, "I don't know how to talk to her," or, "Is it okay if I touch her wheelchair?" And so we would do an education about, "Yeah, you gotta ask first."
yeah,
That's a part of who she is, and you've gotta ask first, and so does she understand me or does he understand me? And I will tell you, the kids who chose to really invest in those opportunities, they said it was the best part of their day.
mm,
When they got to be with the students in life skills or the students with multiple disabilities that we served through a program at my school,
mhm,
it was the best part of their day. They appreciated things more. They were more grateful.
mhm.
Um, and it just made them realize, you know what? I don't have to be somebody that I'm not. This
Yeah,
person accepts me because I came in and said hello to them and I gave them a hug, or I said, "Oh man, I love your new glasses," or "I love how did you do on that quiz or that test, or look at that thing that you colored. Let's color together, or let's make this thing together." And they just I don't know, it had a really positive impact. I will say I don't know one student of mine that was a typical developing kid who was like, "This is terrible. I never want to do this again." They were just
yeah.
very accepting.
Yeah, because they have the same angst inside of them and they have the same need for acceptance and belonging and for someone to say, you're okay as you are. You don't have to change. And being around a kiddo like Mary Elizabeth or Anna, that's like a real life representation of that. And so they get to see that and they get to know, like, hey, this person loves me and accepts me no matter what, which is what I think is the best thing about Mary Elizabeth is that she rolls her eyes at me for sure, but at the end of the day, like, I can do no wrong. Like, she loves me, she takes me as I am, and she's grateful for me, and she teaches me to do that, with others every day. And I just, yeah, I can't imagine um not having that in my life. Yeah. So the opportunity for those kids in the buddy program, that's kind of what I was thinking you would say. I wasn't sure, but I'm glad that everyone
So
that
to
has changed.
extend that,
Yeah.
yeah, to extend that, like once you leave school though, all of that is gone.
Right.
And so to anybody listening, or watching out there that has a kid and you're like, yeah, 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 we're past that. Our kid is 22. They're out of public school, which is where we are. What do we do now?
Yeah.
And I will tell you that is a hard, hard place to be
Mhm.
because the opportunities are limited.
Right.
And um, I we've chosen to invest, like look at what we can do. One of
Hmm.
our things, is being involved with Ainsley's Angels. So, if you have a person that has, limited mobility, or just you just want to be a part of that community, very accepting, very much about belonging.
Yeah.
That's an athletic or sports sort of entry. But what Anna missed the most was just socializing, just being with people
Yeah.
her own age, being with people with disabilities, being people without disabilities.
Mhm.
Um, she just missed that. So there's a wonderful social group that she goes to on Tuesdays, and she gets to be with other people who are on devices, and they chatter back and forth on their eye gaze systems. It's a
Awesome.
very small group because they meet in a really small place, and so the numbers are limited. And then the other fun thing that we created, she and I talked about, people who are 23, they go to happy hour, right? And when you go to happy hour, you can drink alcoholic beverages or you cannot. And we have been trying to put together these happy hours. And so at first, we started with a pretty small group and we just went to a local restaurant that during their happy hour hours from like 4:30 to 6. And it has grown to like, I think I have like 21 or 22 people
That's so
on a group. I had to create a group me because I couldn't like keep texting everybody.
good.
And so it's you can only come if you're 21 plus, because the thing is there's other things for people who are younger.
Mhm.
And we just kind of wanted to keep it with, within our same age range, of our students, or not students, I guess, of our children, or our
Yeah,
adult children.
right.
um and it has been so well received and so fun. And it's literally like, hey, um, I wanna come and I wanna bring this many people in wheelchairs. I call a restaurant ahead of time. I wanna bring this many people in wheelchairs. Can you accommodate us? And I kind of, have an idea. And it's just right here in our Katy community. So I would
Mhm.
encourage anybody who has an older kiddo, you just send out a text and I promise you people are gonna show up. Because again, like you said, people want connection. They want community. So to
Mhm.
sit around a table or at a bar or whatever and talk and be silly. My husband went with us one time and he took pictures of the girls, of Anna and her friend Amy, and then did filters on them and said, "What happened to your teeth?" Blacked out their teeth and made mustaches on their pictures. And they just giggled and had so much fun. And I don't know, like, that doesn't happen. If you're looking for something to happen just like organically,
Mhm.
I think you're missing opportunities. I think
Yeah.
like you have to create some of those.
Mhm. Yeah, that's good. I like that. Um, Happy hour in Katy, y'all. So good. I already asked if I could come.
You can come.
That is not allowed because she's not old enough,
Nope,
but
she can't come yet. She can't come
right.
yet.
That's right. No,
And
it's
I know
so good.
some people are like, "Wow, that sounds not inclusive." It is though. It is inclusive.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's inclusive for the right group of people who are of age to do it. Yeah, no, it's so good.
Yeah.
It's so clever. And I've told a few moms about what you started just randomly, out in the community. And every one of them has a child who's 21 or older. And
Oh,
they
cool.
are just tickled pink about it. I mean, they just love it. They love the idea. And so I think one of them might start doing it up here in the Woodlands. And so we
Yay.
just maybe
Awesome.
we'll
Awesome.
maybe you are the beginning of happy hour for uh for our families and our community. Yeah. So it's so good. That's so, so, so good.
Yeah, and I want to tell you, we gave a shout out to our we have a Katie Fort Bend foodies page. I'm sure you guys have one wherever you live, some kind of like, where a bunch of restaurants can,
Right.
post things or whatever. And this restaurant in our community did such a lovely job of like accommodating our group in a
Hmm.
way that was, they saw we were supposed to sit somewhere else. And I
Hmm.
think they looked at us and they saw, because I went there the day before and they're like, yeah, this is where you're going to be. And it was kind of loud and it was
Hmm.
in the midst of everybody. And I was like,
Hmm.
okay. They gave us a private room that's usually like you have to rent it, but they
Yeah.
saw a need. And so I shouted them out on that page. And man, that restaurant got so much good publicity and so many
Right.
good like comments and that kind of thing. It was great. It was great.
Yeah. Love it. It's a win for everybody. Yeah.
Hmm.
Good,
Yeah.
good. Okay, so what advice would you give to a newcomer to our community? So let's say their children are under 5 and they
Mm.
are still trying to get their bearings, probably, like the rest of us were in the beginning. And they have seen how the world treats us and, like what, they've seen the accessibility, probably like all of it. Um, but they also know the importance of inclusion and belonging and of a group for their child. What advice would you give to a newer mom like that? What would you say?
Um, you know, I got to experience community um in the waiting room of Anna's therapy center. Um, it started, Anna has been with the same therapist since she was 6 weeks old. So that's a
Amazing.
long time. Yeah.
Very, yeah,
And I ended up in the waiting room at the same time as a mom that had quadruplets. And yeah, uh-huh. And 2 of the 4 were in therapy, and the other 2, and they were kind of close to my kid's age. And from that, we started to go to dinner together. And then, like once a month, we were like, okay, when can everybody's, find care for their kids? And we would meet up. Um,
mhm,
so I would say look for people who want to parent the same way that you do.
mhm.
Um, we're goer outers. I don't know if that makes
Yeah,
sense or not, but like
yeah,
Anna's pieces of Anna's wheelchair just had to be replaced because they were like, wow, there is you guys go out a lot. And we were like, yeah, we
yeah.
are we are out in the community. We're walking, we're
Mm,
window shopping, we
right,
are at sporting events, we're at, all the things. Um that we can get to and that we can get her to.
right.
And I know that's not everybody's reality. Like for some kids, they like too much input is too much for them. Like that's not a pleasant experience. But I would say find people who want to live life like you do. I know that's probably one of the reasons that you and I connected
Yeah.
is that you like to go
I'm
out
a
and you like
goer
to
too. Yeah, that's right.
you like to do things. You like
Yeah,
to, be in the middle. Like sometimes you're going to show up though, and you're going to be the only one with the kid with the disability in that space. Like
right.
um
Yeah.
I think we were probably one of I didn't really see anybody else in a wheelchair at the Taylor Swift concert.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
I mean, Anna was in a pink sparkle dress and silver sparkly boots, and she had all of her, bracelets on and all the things. And I was like, heck yes, if we're gonna do this, we're gonna blow it up, and
Yeah.
it was amazing, but I think she was probably one of the only ones there in a wheelchair that had to
Yeah.
be tube fed in the middle of the concert.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah, but you're still going. And that's the
Yeah,
advice is
yeah,
find someone who's doing it the way that you would want to do it or the way that you imagine it looking, and then make that your friend and then do it together.
yeah,
Yeah, I love that. One of the ways that I have survived, really the only way I've survived, is with the people that I've met along this journey. And sometimes we don't get to see each other because we are trying to manage schedules and care and accessibility. But I can also always call them and say, blah blah blah, whatever's terrible, whatever's going on, whatever I'm upset about, whatever I'm frustrated about, and they listen and they understand, and then that's kind of all I need to keep going. And so that's really good advice, is look around and find someone who's doing it the way that you would want to, and then connect and then make an effort to build that relationship. And that's the other piece of it, is I think the moms in our community, isolation is a natural, it's a given. um i i, I feel like sometimes we say, oh, we isolate ourselves, but I don't actually believe that to be true. I don't think that comes first. I think that this life is isolating a lot of times. And so we have to make a real effort to push, to get out there, to connect, to be amongst people, to be social. And my girl also is very social. So it's like she's encouraging me to do that. So I wonder, if it would feel different if she wasn't as social. Um, but I will say that that is how, yeah, I'm only 14 years in, but we still have a smile on our face. And that's why it's because of the people, and because of the belonging, for myself and Mary Elizabeth that we found out in the community. But we have worked very hard to make those relationships, to grow them, to nourish them, and to keep them. So, anything
And I
else
think
you have to
I
say about that? Yeah.
yeah, I think Sarah, like, there are seasons also of being active and being a go-getter. I mean, there have been seasons when Anna was not well, had
Hmm.
major, like, surgeries and complications, and what being social looked like was, and, when we were in COVID and nobody was at school and all of that, that was awful. It's awful, and
Right.
so, thankfully, technology and FaceTime and that kind of thing, and making silly videos and sending them back and forth to people, that's what
Yeah.
that looked like then. But also I feel like, some people do, they're the fear of going out and having to face the world with your person because maybe it's physically hard, maybe it's just you're not confident in that. Find somebody that is. Find someone that's going to push you out the door or whatever. I have a dear friend that does that for me. My friend Garia, she pushes me all the time, and her son, who also has CP, cerebral
Okay.
palsy, like our kids, he pushes me. He's
Yeah.
verbal,
Yeah.
and he has told me, from the first time that I met him, let Anna do it. Let her do it.
Right.
That was when I sent her to sleepaway camp for the
That's
very first
right.
time.
Just let her do it. That's right.
Oh my goodness. That was so hard, but it was so great. Like, I'm so glad that I trusted them,
Yeah.
and um and she's one of those people that helps me, see, you know what? I can do this. I'm going to do it. Let's
Yeah.
do it together. Um
Yeah.
and I think that's huge. And then also, the beauty of the online situation, Facebook is great and it's not great, but I will tell you, if you can find a group like we have, that you and I are a part of, the Special
Right.
Moms group
Yeah.
online, it's this beautiful community of people that want to share
Mhm.
ideas, they want to share supplies, they want to share doctor referrals. We just want to help each other. And when your world falls apart during the day and you just need to tell somebody that actually understands,
Mhm.
um, you can go in that group and people will just rally around you. People that you don't even know.
I
People
know.
that
Yeah.
you just don't even know.
Yeah.
They just come and they're like, I hear you. I see you. I'm here for you,
Yeah.
and that makes me choke up a little bit, just knowing like they understand. And I think that's part of belonging too, is being
Right.
with people, aligning yourself with people that understand you. And if you're in a group of people that don't understand you, bless your heart.
Right.
Like, I want you to know that there are people out there that do understand you. Just keep looking for them. Keep
Yeah,
looking
thank
for
you for
them.
that. Yeah, that's good because I think a lot of people don't, but there are people that do, and then there are people that are willing to learn. And we have to figure
Yes.
out which ones are our people and then, yeah, move forward with that. I love that you said that. I don't know if it's growing up in the 80s, or I guess you grew up before me even, but the affirmation, the understanding, the being seen, the being heard is a big thing. And so, yeah, the special moms group online, and other people, really do that for me. And I don't know, sometimes I'll call my friend Kelly and I'll just vent and she'll say, "Man, that really sucks." And that's it. That's the end of the conversation. I'm like, "Thank you. Just wanted you to know how bad it sucks." And sometimes that's all you need. And so you can seek out those types of people who are understanding or are very much trying to understand. Uh, do you have friends that aren't, do you have really, really close friends that you've had for a long time that aren't part of our community?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Um, and I wanna go back to what you were saying because I think that, your friend saying, "Yeah, that really does suck." I think that is the essence of empathy. No matter if you are, you know, going through a hard day of being a parent of a person with a disability, or you're just experiencing something hard, or you're experiencing something great. Having someone just come alongside you, either physically or with their words like that,
Mhm.
you feel like, okay, somebody does understand. They want to sit in the suck with you or they want to
Yeah.
celebrate with you.
Yeah.
Those are your people. Those are your
Right.
people. Yeah, no, I have some amazing people that are not, part of, like, they don't have the disability in their, like, home or maybe
Right.
in their own families,
Yeah.
but we are so close and we've, like, Anna is their person with a disability,
Right. So
you
they
know?
do kind of at this point. Yeah.
Kind of,
So
yeah.
they have grown to understand. They've learned and understood. Yeah. That's what I wanted to know. And I wanted to say that for the newer moms who I think in the beginning, I know I felt this way, and I've heard newer moms talk about this of like, they don't understand. They never understand. Even if it's like a family or a best friend, I think that's like
Yes.
particularly painful because it's like
Mhm.
you want them to. And really in the beginning there's no way for them to understand, and I have accepted that, like they you just can't. And so that's just the truth, that's the reality. But they can want to, and they can learn, and they can do the best they can, to to be there with you and to support you. I even have a good friend, she used to call me. We had kids growing up together. So I had Benjamin, my neurotypical, and then Mary Elizabeth. And so all our kids were, Benjamin's age and grew up together. And she would call me and complain about teething. And she would be, 10 minutes in, and then she'd be like, "Oh my God, what am I saying? I should not." And I'm like, "No, no, 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 no. This is so normal and so good. And I love that you're struggling too." We're both struggling, different things, but we're both struggling. And so I think with my friends that don't have a kid but are part of our community, that's kind of how it's gone, is like I have to be empathetic with them and understand what's going on in their life and what's hard for them, and then they have to be able to do the same for me. And isn't it like that for every relationship? Like it sounds simple, I know it's hard, but that's the basis of it, is that we have to want to understand and then empathize, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's taken me a long time to get to this place, but everybody has a hard.
Yeah.
Everybody does.
Yeah.
Um, I always say my hard day is probably somebody else's easy day, and my easy day is somebody else's hard day.
Yeah.
It's just all about perspective, and I think we have to have a lot of grace for the
Hmm.
people in our lives that don't understand, and I also think, and this sounds exhausting, and I know, but relationships take work, and I think that
Right.
it takes possibly asking, the people in your life who you feel like don't understand, asking them, "Hey, can I just tell you how to communicate?" Or, "Anna really likes it when you come around and you say or do this." It's
Right.
almost like you're educating them about
Yeah.
how to be around your person.
Right.
And then I would also say, and I know this is really hard because this is kind of a confrontation sort of a thing, but if you are so pained by this, maybe it's someone in your family, maybe it's someone that you have known for your whole life or whatever. Hey,
Mhm.
can we talk about you being around Anna? I would really love for you to be a part of her life. And I would really love for us to be, for you to come to her celebrations and birthdays or whatever it is, and I want to bring her to yours. Can we talk about what that looks like?
Yeah.
And open that door, not in a you never include her or you
Right.
never show up to our things, but we always come to yours or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
operate from that place of grace,
Mhm.
operate from that place of like, maybe that person just is scared they're going to offend, or
Yeah.
focus on like, oh man, if I invite them to our jump house party and Anna can't be in the jump house, which by the way, if you have a young kid,
They
if you have a
can.
link, if you have a young kid like my kid, she would love to be put in the middle of the bounce house
Right. Let
and
let them
have the
bounce
other
her all around.
children, yes, bounce her all around, like, don't fall on her, but
Yeah. Yeah.
it is what it is. I mean, I know that's not for all kids, but um that's something that I feel like it's a hard conversation and it's kind of
Mhm.
scary
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you're like, you're vulnerable. You're saying like, this kind of hurts me, and you may feel silly saying it, but I also don't want people to think that you have to keep sitting in that hurt.
Right.
You can make a choice. You can just be like, okay, well, this is going to be a friend that just I go out with, or that just,
Right.
I see. Um, or maybe that season of friendship is going to sail off into the sunset. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. But we should be leading with grace and trying to keep it, trying to communicate, trying to find some connection, some solidarity, some way to continue on. And I like that. And I struggle with that a lot. Not anymore, but I did for a long time of like, can't they see? Like, why aren't they? You know, like, do they
Mhm.
not know? Y'all, they don't know. They don't know. Um, and you can't expect them to know. And that took me years to understand and then accept that that is the reality. And so if I want to have friends that aren't in this community, then I'm going to have to do some work. Yeah. And I'm going to have to nourish those friendships. And they are different than the ones in
Mhm.
this community. I'll say that, like Paige and like I consider Paige like someone that I would talk about very personal, intimate things and be very vulnerable with. We don't see each other very often, but she's one of my people. Um, I haven't had to work real hard for that, if that makes sense. I have another friend who's very similar to Pace, who's not in our world, who I've had to put a lot of time and effort into that relationship and nourish it. And I do because it's worth it to me. And I want to have that relationship. And she has, as we've, spent years together, she has gained a better understanding of my life and the way
Awesome.
it works and the day to day, stuff. And so, we've kind of grown together and built together. And I've given some and she's given some. And, here we are, 20 years later with a really lovely friendship. And so I think that that is really important to say, like, you are going to have to put in a lot of effort and a lot of hard work, and you're going to have to be very vulnerable and talk about it in
And I
order.
think you have to set expectations.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but well, I know that Mary Elizabeth has seizure disorder. And so, you can make all the plans in the world to meet up with your friends, and
Yeah.
you can have your outfit ready to go, and you can have the babysitter lined up and all the things, but it can fall apart in an instant.
Yeah.
And to be able to say to your friends, um, I'm going to make these plans and I'm going to do the best I can to show up.
Yeah.
And it can
Yeah.
fall apart in a second. And it's
Right.
not that I don't want to be with you. It's not
Right.
that I don't want to spend time with you. It's that this thing is always gonna be bigger than that. You know,
Yeah.
there's no I have to be here for my person. And so
Mhm.
I think that that's a good thing too, is to set up those, you know, expectations.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Yeah. Kid can turn on a dime. That's what I say.
Oh,
With and like good and bad. That's the other thing. It's,
sure.
we'll have a great morning and then all of a sudden, we're in the trenches for 2 weeks, right? Or we'll be terrible and then 2 hours later she's like, "What's up? Why aren't we going somewhere? What's going on?" Well, if you don't remember earlier, kid, I was there. So
And
yeah.
I'm exhausted.
Exactly. That's right. I feel like I've lived a day before noon. Like I feel like I've lived the whole day. And I don't know if I don't know if anybody else feels that way. I know you do sometimes.
People that are listening to this will be like, yes and amen.
But
Yes.
someone will say, like, good morning, it's 11 o'clock. I'm like, no, 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 no. It's like 5 p.m. Like I've already done the whole day. So I don't know why you're saying good morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Okay. Anything else that you would want to say while we have the opportunity? We're talking about belonging, we're talking about acceptance and inclusion, we're talking about being mamas, we're talking about creating the space for our kids and families to belong and to be out there and to be social. Any other words of wisdom, any knowledge, anything? I'm going to let
I
you think.
guess
Oh, yeah. Okay,
go
good.
ahead.
No, I was
No,
gonna, I was just gonna talk really good about you while you were thinking, but keep going. I'll do
you're
that too.
very kind. You're very kind. No, I would say take care of yourself
Yeah,
as the mom or the dad or, you know, the caregiver, whoever that is. You've got to take care of yourself and be realistic with yourself about what you can and can't do. Um, Celebrate the times when you can get out and um, maybe you mourn the time for that you can't go and do something, but like put a timer on that morning. You
yeah,
know, it's not that you're a bad person, it's not that you're a bad friend. Um, you know, it's just a different reality. I would say a lot of times it's just a different reality for us. And that's okay. That's okay. Like have that confidence to show up however you can,
yeah,
and believing that it's enough. And I
yeah,
still, I mean, I'm going to be honest, 23 years later, I still sit in the, am I doing enough? Am I doing enough? And that's when I, you know, lean into my faith and the Lord says, yes, I am enough. So you're enough.
right.
Like,
You're always
let
enough.
it go.
Yeah,
Let it go. Um, but I would say, you know, in that sense of belonging, like looking for the opportunities, you know, that are around you, in your neighborhood, at your schools, in your places of worship, whatever that is, in your community, you know, look for those opportunities. And if something is not there that your kid wants to do or that you want to do, then talk to somebody, like talk to somebody about it. Creating that and just throw it on the wall and see what happens, see who
yeah,
shows up. Like,
yeah,
no harm, no foul, you know?
yeah,
And if it doesn't turn out like you want it to, grab those people in your community and, you know, call them, hey, this didn't work. What do you think? What should I do differently?
yeah,
And that's where having that, you know, the online community and maybe just, you know, old friends and new friends, those moms in the waiting room that, you know, that, hey, I was thinking about doing this, like throw that around. I don't know. Like,
yeah. I love that. I want to say something about a mom in a waiting room just because we're kind of sentimental right now. And
yeah,
Mary Elizabeth was less than 6 months old. We were in a waiting room in New Orleans of a big pediatric physical therapy practice. And at that point, she was little. So I didn't know what I didn't know, what I didn't know back then. I just had no clue. Um, I think about myself. Yeah, I think about that mama and I just want to give her a hug, but I just had no idea. And there was a mom sitting next to me with what appeared to be a teenager, young adult son with an eye gaze system. And I took one look at him and burst into tears. Like it devastated me. Um, and I didn't make a thing about it. I'm just like holding my baby crying, right? But this mom saw me and she looked over. I'm gonna cry just thinking about it because like I haven't thought about this in years. But she put her hand on my shoulder and she said, "It's okay. You don't know what this is gonna look like. You don't know yet." And she said, "So just wait and see." And they went into their appointment. They came back out. We were still kind of waiting. And on her way out, she gave me a hug and she said, "This is a really good scenario. Like, this is best case scenario." Like she said, like, we're living our best life. And back then, I did not get that. I did not
Mhm.
understand that. I was terrified of that life. Um,
Mhm.
I couldn't comprehend having a kid like that. I couldn't comprehend that I just didn't have it in me at the point. But now I'm thinking like that could be me. That I am that mom now where I have figured things out enough to know that we're living our best life. And we're surrounded by people who love us and who support us and who include us and in places where we do belong. And a lot of that is luck, and a lot of that is hard work, and a lot of that is grace. And so, yeah, I don't know. I just had to say that. I didn't.
And it doesn't look like what maybe you see on the internet, you
No,
know? A lot of times it doesn't look like that.
right.
And to be honest, some of that is staged.
Thank
So
you. Right. That's right.
so,
Yes.
I mean, like, even if you're like, "Gosh, my life doesn't look like that," in a myriad of ways, um, I think that, even with the experiences that our kids have. Oh, I wanna tell one more. Can I just
Yeah.
do one more little,
Yeah. Oh my
like,
God.
blurb?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so, y'all, I don't know if any of you have, like, you want your kids to be a part of some school, like, things that maybe you got to be a part of, and you're like, "Well, I don't see any other kids with disabilities doing this." And so that happened to me when it came to, like, homecoming, and if you're not from Texas, homecoming is a really big thing. Homecoming and, like, prom. And
Yeah.
so I did not see, our kids with disabilities just being super included in that. And so I went to the high school Best Buddies program and I was like, "Listen, we're doing this." So Anna's, I think, sophomore or junior year of high school, I was like, I need, I want us all to go to dinner together,
Mhm.
and then we're going to go to the dance. We're going to take pictures. I had somebody come and take pictures of all of the kids before dinner, and then we sat at a restaurant and we had dinner, and even the homecoming king came to our dinner. It was so
Nice.
adorable.
Yeah.
It was so lovely. Anyway, he came to dinner with us. The kids went to the dance for as long as they wanted to. Some kids didn't go to the dance, like, meh, they didn't,
Right.
that wasn't their thing. But Anna wanted to be there for the music and the dancing.
Right.
Yeah, and
And for the
everybody to see
dress.
her,
But yeah.
uh,
Right.
see her in her dress
Right.
and do all the things. So I would say, like, if you don't see that happening, don't wait for somebody else to do it. For prom, it was the same thing. Um, and I did have the wherewithal to realize that, our senior best buddies, they wanted to have their own prom experience with
Mhm.
their friends. And maybe some of their friends did have disabilities and some of them did not.
Mhm.
And so what I proposed, because I was like, listen, I want Anna to have this prom experience. She wants to wear the cool dress. She wants to, go to dinner. She wants to be with all the fancy people and the boys looking cute in their tuxes and
Yes,
everything.
right.
And so we made that happen. And what we did is we got some juniors to be able to go to prom, because at our school it's huge and it's only a senior prom. And so I said, listen, I called up the assistant principal who was in charge of that senior class. And I was like, hey, I just want to throw this idea.
Mhm.
And let me tell you guys something. They had never thought about that.
Right.
Because here's the thing, if you don't have the disability in your world, you just don't. You
Yeah.
don't think about those things. And so I wasn't ugly about it. I wouldn't, I just said, "Hey, have you ever thought of this? And could we get these juniors in Best Buddies to be our kids not really dates, but just like friends that they would go with,
Uh,
that they belonged,
Peer
that
group. Right.
yeah. And so we got a group together. We did the whole like going out to dinner thing at Cheesecake Factory. We picked up, and my kid and Sarah's kid both have to go into a special car. We can't just like jump in someone else's car.
Right.
So
Right.
that's okay. Like jump in our van. Like we'll take a group. That'll be super fun.
Yeah.
And um and I will tell you guys something. They had a group of probably like 7 or 8 that were within Anna's group. Someone at the Cheesecake Factory that was just a random person saw them all together, saw these students interacting with each other, and just they were giggling and laughing and having a great time, paid for their whole meal.
So
And
nice.
then Cheesecake Factory was like, we've got your dessert. And Anna, eats through a G tube and has some taste of things, but I think that, to those typically developing kids, these were just their friends.
Right.
But from the outside world, they got to be in a space and teach people about what it looks like to be
Yeah.
friends with
I love
someone with a disability,
that.
and to have them included into this really big, cool memory. This
Yeah.
is like a core memory. And
Mhm.
then we waited while they ate dinner. So I'm going to tell you guys, it takes some work. Like, you're going to have to give up your night. We were
Yeah.
the carpool,
Yeah.
and we drove them then. We waited for them to get finished eating. We drove them to the dance. We dropped them off. And
Mhm.
then, we picked them up later and all of that. I went into a bathroom and I fed Anna her G tube feeding, like, 'cause she didn't want to, I kind of had to like undo her dress and do all the things to get
Right.
that tube feeding in her before she went and partied like a rock star,
That's
with all
it.
of her senior friends. But
Yeah.
the school paid for those juniors prom tickets, because for our school
Nice.
it's kind of expensive.
Yeah.
They okayed them to be there. um
Yeah.
and so just doing those, and so now since Anna's group came through, it's every year they do it.
I love
It's
it.
a
If you
tradition
build
now.
it, it will come. Yeah, I love
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
yeah. So it's kind of cool to have that legacy to go with it, like, hey, we did something not just for our kid, but it changed the experience for other kids too. So
Yeah.
it was pretty
Love it.
cool.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Okay. Paige, I love talking to you. I feel like I could talk, like, there's so many more things that I want to talk to you about. Obviously, we're
Okay.
going to do it on the podcast, but I am so glad to have you on. And just for my audience, I think I said it, Paige has been my mentor. I don't know if she knew until recently, probably like the last 5 years, that I have been calling her and texting her and like, hey, what do you think about this? Or, hey, what about that? Or, hey, how did you handle this with Anna? And so she has been the mom to share her wisdom. And yeah, she's just, years ahead of me in the game. And so I feel like, we can do that for each other, I guess is what I wanted to say. And either formally or informally, I got an email yesterday from a mama asking for help. Brand new, 11-month-old baby with cerebral palsy. What do you do? And I said, find a mentor, find an OG mom who is 5, 10 years ahead of you, and befriend her, love on her, and then get the wisdom that you need, because like Paige said, we have to support each other. We have to share knowledge, resources, information, and empathy. And so I am grateful to Paige and so excited to have you on. And yeah, there's not enough good things that I can say about this lady. So thank you. And
Thank
your
you, and thank
daughter.
oh,
Yeah.
yeah, you know, if
Right?
it wasn't for Anna and Mary Elizabeth,
I
we would have never
know.
met. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, thank
Yeah.
you for taking on, this podcast and gathering up all of your people, in
Yeah.
your world, or that that can mean something to other people, because that is just giving of your heart, it's giving of your time, and I think that you're blessing a whole lot of people and bringing people together just with, this podcast. So, thank you for
Thank you.
doing that.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you. I love you.
I love
And
you.
I will talk to you and hopefully see you soon. Okay.
Bye, y'all.
Great. Bye, Mama.